Hello everybody, Jardis here, and in today's video, yes, I am actually dabbing. I just like that pose. Anyway, today's video is requested by a Widdlywhee. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, so I do apologize if that is incorrect. Well, Widdlywhee had asked me to post a core build Guardian, so this is what I managed to come up with. Now, I am going to point out that this will not be the greatest Guardian build that there is available out there. This one is meant mostly just for fun. So, okay, let's get into this. So, for the equipment, we will be using Berserker stats, power, precision, and ferocity. If you're buying the armor from the trading post, I would recommend buying the Divona's set because it is cheaper than other Berserker sets out there. We are using the superior rune of the Dragonhunter in order to increase our overall power and ferocity. This will be a power build. Now for the weapon, we will be primarily using the Greatsword again with Berserker stats, with superior sigils of force and superior sigil of impact, again to increase our overall damage. The trinkets, of course, will also be Berserker, which is basically power, precision, ferocity. It's all the ruby set because I don't have any ascended gear on this tune yet, but once you do decide to get some ascended gear pieces, you'd want to stick with the Berserker stats. Now for the relic, we are using Relic of the Thief, mainly because where it says upon striking an enemy with a weapon skill that has a recharge or resource cost, gain 1% strike damage for 6 seconds. Now almost all of our weapon skills will have a a recharge or resource cost, so you will be triggering this relatively often. Now for the build, we are going Radiance, Zeal, and Virtues. For Radiance, we are going Inner Fire. Gain Fury when you strike a foe that has burning stacks over the threshold. Now, because of the fact that we are being a Guardian, a lot of our abilities, particularly the Virtues here, will cause a passive effect of burning. Therefore, we will be getting burning stacks regularly. We are using Retribution. Strike damage dealt is increased while you have Resolution. Resolution is another buff that we will be getting periodically through the Virtues here. As you can see, Resolution at 3-4 seconds, incoming condition damage decreased by 33%, as well as here and here. We are also taking Righteous Instinct. Resolution increases your chances to critically strike and gain might for each interval. Again, we will be periodically getting Resolution, therefore we will be getting an increase in our critical strikes. For the Zeal, we will be using Zealous Scepter. Gain might when your Virtue 1 skill passive effect triggers. That's this one. That includes the burning and the Resolution. Gain more might while wielding a scepter. We will not be using a scepter, but we will want that passive effect trigger from the Virtue 1 skill. We are using Zealous Blade. Your power is increased. Gain additional power while wielding a Greatsword. Your Greatsword skills have reduced recharge. Well, guess what? That's what our primary weapon is going to be. And then finally, Symbolic Avenger. Your strike damage is increased whenever your symbols hit a foe. Now, symbols are weapon skills. For the Greatsword, it's actually the Greatsword 4. As you can see, their symbol of resolution. So basically, whenever we use this skill with a group of enemies, this will trigger, and our strike damage will be increased again. Now for the Virtues, we're using Unscathed, Contender. Strike damage dealt is increased while you have Aegis. Strike damage dealt is increased while you are above the health threshold. Again, with our Virtues, we will be getting Aegis periodically, so this will be triggering relatively quick, or often, We were using Inspiring Virtue. Strike damage dealt is increased after activating a Virtue. Now, we will actually be using primarily this one as a last-ditch healing skill, so while we activate this, we will be triggering this. Or we can use this to increase our burning effects, or use this to gain even more Aegis to ourselves as well as nearby allies. Excuse me. And then finally, Indomitable Courage. The active effect of Virtue 3 skills breaks stuns and gains stability to nearby allies. Its passive effect gains a shorter interval. The reason why we're choosing this is because it takes our Virtue 3 skill, which is the Virtue of Courage here, and it turns it into a stun break, which will be useful in certain fights. Now for the selectable skills, we will be using Litany of Wrath, at least I think it's pronounced Litany. Heal yourself, and for a brief time heal yourself based on the percentage of damage dealt to your enemies. Well, we are doing a massive amount of damage, therefore we will be getting massive amounts of healing. We will be taking Smite Condition. Cure conditions and damage enemy nearby foes. Deal more damage if a condition is cured. Basically, this is a condition cleanse skill that also gives us the benefit of dealing damage to nearby enemies. We will be using Sword of Justice. Will the Sword of Justice to appear beside your enemies and attack nearby foes. This will be our primary AoE ability outside of our weapon skills, because this one is also gives us the ability to be ranged at someone if we need to with 3 charges. It will also inflict vulnerability and cripple, which is a nice bonus. We will be using the Bane Signet to improve our power for the passive effect, or if we decide to knock down and damage our foes by activating it, we can also use a Defiance break bar of 300 points. So yes, this will be our Defiance break bar if we need one. And then finally, we're using Feel My Wrath. Grant Fury and Quickness to nearby allies. The duration of Quickness granted to yourself is doubled. We're just basically using this as a support trait so that we can gain the quickness that we need in order to attack our enemies quicker. Okay, now to show you how this build works, I am currently at the Skimmer Ranch waypoint down in Elon Riverlands, which is part of the Path of Fire expansion. And I will be going down to this hero point down here to show you how this build works. So what we're going to do is we're going to get onto our skimmer. And I got an apple. Just go ahead.
How are we going to get those skimmers back to their pens? Hey, if you can get close to one of those runaway skimmers, please try to catch it.
Thanks for the help.
Not that I really needed to do that, I just didn't like the apple icon over my head for the duration of this walkthrough. Okay, so here we go.
If you seek ascension, you will find only death.
Well, apparently we're going to have some
Prove
assistance
yourself
here.
worthy of the answers you seek.
Now there is no real rotation for this build other than just hit as fast as possible.
I've not felt this alive since the Battle of Japan.
How'd that feel? Excruciating?
We came seeking oneness with the gods, but found only death. Do not let our sacrifices be in vain.
Okay, well, that's how this build works. It's meant primarily for fun. It is, again, not the greatest build out there that a Guardian can achieve. And even though, again, it is not meant for in-game content, it's meant for open world fun. I hope you enjoy. Feel free to share this build with anybody else who would like a fun Guardian build. And I will see you again in the next video. Happy gaming!